Hi, my name is Josiah Jenkins, and before we start off, I'd just like to apologize for the black screen. My computer camera is broken, and it's a lot better to look at a dark screen than a bunch of flashing lights. To get into the questions, basically the first question summarized was how did the team work, and how was it different from what your other teams were like? So the team that I worked with for this project, we worked very well together. We made unanimous decisions basically the entire way, especially when it came to our stock portfolio. We had some differences, but they were resolved immediately. The involvement with our team was a little different than what I'm used to. This is my first online class at GCU. So that was interesting getting used to, but we found a platform that we can all communicate on, so that was resolved as well. For our roles, Sterling and Marvin, they really stepped up as the leaders. They knew how to work the most programs, knew how to work the most recordings, and they kind of just helped out, lead our team to where we needed to be. Sterling was the team facilitator, and he kind of drew our team together. He was the first one to kind of step up and be like, okay, let's switch to this program, let's do this. And he kind of just helped us. And all of us, we kind of just took our turns being observers and filling the necessary roles that when we needed to step up and when other people needed to step up. The second question was, what roles did individuals play and what roles did you assume? Basically asking, how did the team work? So Sterling was the team leader for the first and third meeting, and I believe he was the observer for the second meeting. Marvin was the team leader for the second meeting and observer for the first. Kendall was the observer for the first meeting and was a group member during the other two. I was an observer for the third meeting, and I played a group member for the other two. And Evan was an observer for the second meeting and a group member for the other two. And Samson was an observer as well for the third meeting. So we basically had two observers every meeting, as well as Sterling and Marvin kind of helping coordinate them. As for individual roles, again, Sterling and Marvin stepped up. When it came to decisions on when people had different ideas, I believe I kind of helped mitigate and point people to the best direction for our sake. And then other than that, we just kind of worked as one unit. There wasn't really many roles that stepped up, in my opinion. And so actually, I guess saying that, we did have kind of like a peacekeeper, I guess you could say. And so Kendall and I both kind of stepped up as the compromiser. We helped lead the group to make unanimous decisions, and that was probably the only individual roles that we noticed. For question 3, it became a norm for the group we really got into discussions for our groups. We had like 60 messages from the first week, and in Discord, our new profile, we are constantly messaging each other, and we're pretty informal. We make jokes with each other. We're a little community, so it's been fun working with these guys. Sterling has stepped up as the leader, and he kind of leads us with a completely equal attitude. Everything is equal with what we do. So every decision, there's no what he says. Everything goes on the table. Everything is democratic. So we are just everything kind of just works together. When it comes to meetings, we would meet at around 5 or 6, 3 times, and all of us would end up showing up 5 to 10 minutes early, and all leave the exact same time because we liked working at our own separate areas. Attendance, we were pretty steady the entire time. I know we have one guy off campus, so he wasn't able to meet with us during it, but he still stayed active during the calls. And yeah, I mean, it was a good group to work with. For question 4, this is also about status and power and how that was kind of distributed. So we had our group leaders and our observers. We kind of picked those out at the beginning of every meeting. Sterling and Marvin they had the most time leading, and the rest of us kind of just contributed to discussion and let them lead, let them pick the topics we were going to talk about. Even with their basis power, they really didn't abuse it. They were very nice to us. They were respectful. Again, everything was equal. There was no bickering, no fighting. The only two really noticeable power plays from the group were, yeah, Sterling and Marvin, as they were the leaders. And then power base that I was able to employ was probably, again, just the Peacekeeper, just trying to keep everything under control, which really wasn't necessary. We all kind of agreed. But yeah. For question 5, it was basically asking how do we interact? What were our patterns? What did we kind of pick up on with each other? So at first we were using Halo, which didn't work well at all. We never checked it, and so it was a hard time communicating. We eventually switched to Discord, which was way better. We started communicating a lot more. Once we switched to Discord, some of the cliches that we noticed were very positive. We started picking up more. We were able to communicate better to when to meet, what projects we were doing, what we were all assigned to. It worked way better. We had great interaction, in my opinion. I really can't see how we could have done better personally. We all communicated, we all responded as soon as we could. We all got our parts done in a very reasonable time. For reinforcing just the bond that we had as a group, obviously Sterling did a great job as a leader. I tried to help us move along, but everyone was just adults. We were all very respectful of each other. There was no really one person that held us together. We just worked and we got the job done. But some rituals, I guess you could say, that we did was, obviously we had the 6 o'clock meetups that we did to work on it, to look at our stocks. And then we also just kind of, at the end of every night, we just kind of checked in and we're like, okay, where are you guys at? What have you done? What is it looking like? But that's about all. For question 6, that asked, what stages of group interaction did your group go through? So we went through 4 stages that I personally picked up on. And that was the orientation, conflict, emergence, and reinforcement. So we all met each other first time, talked a bit. We were able to figure out our personalities, what we were like. We got along well. The only conflict, I put it in there, that we had was we couldn't decide on the stocks we wanted to use, but that was really quickly resolved because we're all engineers. We all kind of wanted the same things, so we got through that very quickly. And yeah, that was about the only stage that we got stuck on. I mean, emergence, we came up with our ideas, we worked with it, and reinforcement, we got it done, we looked at it, traded our stocks, and it all worked very well. For question 7, what kind of agenda did the group follow? So our agenda tended to stick to the group assignments details, and we really use that as a guide for our own process. Basically, it acted as our agenda that we would follow relative thinking. So we had one person that would read the paragraph and understand it, and then they would communicate it to the rest of us and figure out what we need to break down and what we need to do as a team to work together. That was basically that's how our system worked, which kind of shows how much we trusted each other because we just gave one guy the responsibility of interpreting it for us. And so far, it's gone really well. And for the last one of just an evaluation overall the entire group, I honestly think we're a very effective group. I'm excited to work with these guys for the rest of the year. We work really well together. We're all pretty similar. I would say the things that I'm most pleased with are definitely how well we respond to each other, how well we interact. Very quick responses all the time. Something that needs the most improvement, honestly, I mean, not having someone live on campus is a little unfortunate simply because we can't communicate face-to-face with each other, but we've figured out how to get around that. And so that isn't really that big of a problem anymore. 2 things that I would change if we were to follow through with this assignment again is definitely timing. As you can see, I'm submitting this on Sunday. I personally like getting things done earlier. And that's honestly the only thing. So, thank you.